India's election results are tomorrow, but today's headline isn't just about India. This news, and what news it is, comes from a continent we don't follow much here in India. Yet, if you believe in equal rights, feminism and progressive values, you'll be talking about this moment in world history for a long time. I'm Manish Adhikary and you are watching First Things Fast. But first, let's talk about India. According to a report published in the Mint, as many as 150 Lok Sabha constituencies had 0 women candidates this time. This means that voters in more than 27% of Lok Sabha seats had no option to vote for a woman candidate. Remember the Women's Reservation Bill?
वो महिलाओं को आरक्षण अधिकार देने का बिल इस सदन में पेश.
It was passed in 2023 to reserve 1/3 of the seats in the Lok Sabha and state assemblies for women, but the bill has yet to come into effect.
The bill can only come into effect after an exercise of delimitation is undertaken.
Now let's go to the story I started this video with. For that, we must travel all the way to Mexico in Latin America, where let me introduce you to Miss Claudia Sheinbaum. Claudia Sheinbaum, a climate scientist and former mayor of Mexico City, won her nation's elections on Sunday in a landslide victory. This brought a double milestone. She became the first woman and the first Jewish person to be elected president of Mexico. This was also the first time in Mexico's history that the two main opponents were women. But beyond the obvious headlines, the first woman, the first Jewish president, etc., why is the rise of these women politicians in Mexico such a big deal?
It's a historic election. Mexico will likely elect its first woman president, which is a big deal in a country long marked by machismo and violence against women.
Ya no puedo regresar a la escuela porque ya estoy casada y las reglas aquí cuando ya se casan, ya no podemos regresar a la escuela, ahora ya somos amas de casa.
Well, in simple words, it's a very big deal because Mexico is one of the most dangerous countries in the world for women. And the disease that is responsible for this is a term you're probably familiar with. It's called machismo. According to one estimate, in the first 6 months of 2019 alone, 1,835 women were murdered in Mexico. Then there is this 2018 report. This one provides a good account of the problems faced by Mexican women inside their own homes and on the streets. Almost 50% of women here reported being victims of intimate partner violence or IPV at some point in their lives. When women defy traditional gender norms here, many Mexican men, the machista, which roughly translates to a male chauvinist, apparently these machistas then start feeling emasculated and resort to violence as a means to reimpose patriarchal order, this report states. Now, as I was researching this, you know what really shook me? This UN agency report. It said some 10 women and girls are killed every day by intimate partners or other family members in the country. Even government officials are accused by some experts of promoting machismo culture through their inaction. In many cases of gender-based violence, police forces and the criminal justice system here victimize the women, portraying them as the culpable party in their own abuse or deaths.
Las instituciones son generizadas, han sido creadas por los hombres y han funcionado, y su funcionamiento, su diseño privilegia el poder masculino, privilegia esa manera masculina de ver el poder, de ver el ejercicio del poder público, y eso no cambia de un día para el otro y no cambia con una llegada inmediatamente, al menos con la llegada de las mujeres.
But why does this have to be? How did Mexico end up like this? The violence against women in Latin America is also linked to colonization. The conquest of women was a tactic used by Spanish colonists to subjugate native peoples, according to some experts. The conquest of Mexico led to the domination of poor indigenous women by more powerful men, creating deep cultural and psychological scars. Machismo culture exists in many Latin American countries but manifests itself through intimate partner violence more in Mexico than in other countries. But it's not like no progress has been made. Some experts criticize blaming the so-called allied machismo culture for the plight of Mexican women because, according to them, using macho culture to explain violence against women is inadequate. Violence against women, they say, can have many causes: power inequalities, sexism, racism, peer pressure, childhood trauma, emotional dependency, and sadism are just a few of them. So the crimes that happen as a result of all this has sparked several waves of protests. which in turn has triggered some much needed change. This report says that the female share among top officials and policymakers has increased. In July last year, of the 32 Mexican states, 10 were being run by women. But the same report cautioned that machismo was omnipresent and that Mexico was only inching towards gender justice slowly and has a long way to go. And it is in this context that Claudia Sheinbaum's election becomes such a historic moment, not only for Mexicans, both men and women, but people fighting really, really hard battles for gender justice around the world, including here in India.
Agradezco también porque por primera vez en 200 años de la República me convertiré en la primera mujer presidenta de México.
If you found this video informative, please like, comment and subscribe for more updates. Thank you for watching First Things Fast.
Gracias, gracias, gracias por tanto.